Karen robbed a vet's Zippo. His lawyer wife lit her up in court. What kind of person steals a war hero's last keepsake and expects to walk free? In the sleepy town of Willow Creek, where everyone knew everyone, Karen Mitchell's name was about to become infamous. The Zippo lighter, etched with the initials JT and a faded eagle, wasn't just metal and flint, it was a Vietnam vet's final tether to his fallen brother. And Karen, with her manicured nails and designer sunglasses, had snatched it from John Taylor's porch, right under the town's nose. It started innocently enough, or so Karen claimed. John, a grizzled 72-year-old with a limp from shrapnel wounds, had left the Zippo on his porch table after a late-night smoke. It was his ritual, a quiet moment to honor his friend Tommy, who never made it back from Da Nang. Karen, his neighbor, saw it gleaming in the moonlight during one of her evening walks. She didn't just take it, she trashed John's memorial garden in a fit of spite, ripping up roses, snapping the flagpole, and scattering dirt across the porch. Why? Because John had once called her out for letting her dog ruin his lawn. Petty? Sure. But Karen's ego didn't do petty halfway. The next morning, John found his sanctuary in ruins. The Zippo was gone, and his heart sank. He'd carried that lighter through jungles, through gunfire, through loss. It was Tommy's, passed to him in a blood-soaked trench with a whispered promise to keep it burning. Now it was in Karen's purse, a trophy of her vindictive stroll. Word spread fast in Willow Creek. By noon, the town's coffee shop buzzed with outrage. Karen, sipping her latte, dismissed it all with a wave. "It's just a lighter," she scoffed to anyone who'd listen. "He's being dramatic." But John wasn't alone. His wife, Emily Taylor, a retired lawyer with a reputation for shredding opponents in court, wasn't about to let this slide. Emily, sharp as a tack at 68, had spent decades defending veterans' rights pro bono. She'd seen entitled types like Karen before people who thought rules didn't apply to them. Emily didn't just want the Zippo back. She wanted Karen to feel the weight of her actions. She started digging. Security footage from a neighbor's camera caught Karen's silhouette that night, her hands tearing through John's garden. A pawn shop clerk downtown mentioned Karen trying to sell a vintage Zippo the next day, only to storm out when he lowballed her. The evidence was piling up, but Emily needed more than a small claims win. She wanted justice that stung. Enter Maria, the twist no one saw coming. Maria, a quiet barista at the coffee shop, had overheard Karen bragging about the theft to a friend. "I took it to teach him a lesson," Karen had laughed, oblivious to Maria's eavesdropping. Maria, whose own father was a vet, felt her blood boil. She slipped Emily a note with the details, including Karen's plan to lose the Zippo if anyone asked questions. That note changed everything. Emily now had a witness, and Maria's testimony would turn Karen's smug confidence into a noose. "Your Honor, this isn't just about a lighter," Emily said, her voice steady but laced with fire. "This is about a woman who desecrated a veteran's memorial, stole a piece of his soul, and thought she could walk away unscathed." She presented the security footage, the pawn shop clerk's statement, and Maria's testimony. The room gasped as Maria recounted Karen's callous words, her voice trembling but resolute. Karen's smirk faltered. Greg tried to object, claiming the Zippo's value was negligible. But Emily was ready. She held up a photo of the Zippo, its engraving clear, and read aloud a letter from John about Tommy's sacrifice. The courtroom fell silent, some wiping tears. Karen took the stand, and it was a disaster. She stammered, claiming she found the Zippo and meant to return it. When Emily pressed her about the garden, Karen snapped, "He deserved it. His stupid flowers were an eyesore." The gallery erupted in boos, and Judge Holt banged her gavel. Emily didn't let up. "You knew what that lighter meant," she said, her voice cutting like a blade. "You saw the engraving, you saw the garden, and you chose to destroy both." Karen's face turned red, her excuses crumbling. Greg looked like he wanted to vanish. The climax came when Emily called John to the stand. He spoke softly, his voice heavy with decades of pain. "That Zippo was Tommy's promise to me," he said. "It's all I have left of him." He turned to Karen, not with anger but with pity. "You took more than a lighter. You took my peace." The room was electric with tension, every word landing like a hammer. Karen shrank in her seat, her bravado gone. The crowd outside the courthouse, watching through live streams, roared for justice. Judge Holt didn't hesitate. She ordered Karen to return the Zippo, pay for the garden's restoration, and cover punitive damages for emotional distress, a hefty $5,000. More than Karen expected. But the real blow was the community service. 200 hours cleaning up veterans' memorials across the county. Karen's face was a mask of shock, her entitlement shattered. The pawn shop had kept the Zippo safe, and it was returned to John that day, his hands trembling as he held it. Emily hugged him, her eyes fierce with pride. Maria, in the back, smiled quietly, her courage a spark that had lit the fire. As the gavel fell, Willow Creek exhaled. Karen's name became a cautionary tale, whispered in diners and posted on X with hashtags like Justice for John. She slunk out of town for weeks, unable to face the stares. John replanted his garden, the Zippo back in his pocket, its flame a quiet symbol of resilience. Emily, ever the warrior, took Maria out for coffee, thanking her for tipping the scales. The town rallied around John, donating flowers and flags to rebuild what Karen had torn down. In the end, it wasn't just about a lighter. It was about standing up to those who think they're above accountability, about honoring those who've sacrificed, and about community coming together to right a wrong. John's Zippo burned brighter than ever, a beacon of hope in a world that sometimes forgets its heroes. So, what do you think? Where do we draw the line between petty revenge and real harm? Share your thoughts. Let's talk about what justice means.